Alright guys, Sparkle will be dropping in just roughly over a week from now, so I'm going to go over how you should be preparing for her and why you may want to consider pulling for her. Before we get into it, please subscribe to the channel, would extremely appreciate it, and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Okay, what we know so far about Sparkle. She is a Quantum Harmony character and the main aspect of her kit revolves around skill point regeneration. From the livestream that showcased both Sparkle and Black Swan, we could see when Sparkle was on the field, the skill point cap was increased from 5 to 7. There was no talk about it being conditional, so it just seems like the cap will always be raised to 7 as long as Sparkle is on the field. This passive talent alone would be huge for quite a few characters, but the two that come to mind right away would be Imbibed Lune and Qingque. I'll also be going over who is best with Sparkle shortly. Sparkle's ultimate can regen 4 skill points. As the kit is not confirmed, I'm not too sure whether you can regenerate an additional skill point on top with an Eidolon. However, 4 skill points regen is no joke considering the max without Sparkle is 5, and this completely throws away the need to be skill point efficient. The ult will also allow you to deal more damage when using skill points, meaning those characters that are quite skill point reliable will just deal more damage on top. Now, how the second part of the ult works is still not confirmed, but judging from how kits usually work, from my best guess, each skill point you use would probably increase a team's damage by a certain percentage. Of course, there will be a max stack and for a specific amount of turns. With that in mind, characters that can use multiple skill points in the same turn would definitely take advantage of this ult the most. Sparkle's skill now allows allies to advance forward actions up to a degree. Now, this is literally Bronia's skill, but the advance forward is not 100%, meaning they wouldn't go right after the skill has been used. I feel like if Sparkle's skill was a 100% advance forward for an ally, they would have just outright said it rather than say up to a degree. What that degree is, it could be anywhere from 40 to 50 to 70%. Now, if Sparkle's skill was just to advance forward an ally, I would understand why some players may be somewhat disappointed since it's just Bronia's skill but worse. However, Sparkle not only advances forward an ally, but increases their crit damage also. Now, we don't have any confirmed multipliers, but being able to provide a crit damage boost from just a skill rather than the ultimate like Bronia would is huge. So I believe the crit damage boost from the skill kinda makes up for the advance forward not being 100% and kinda solidifies it being not 100% since it would just be unfair then. Now from what I know, take the next few things I mentioned with a pinch of salt since nothing is confirmed, but the crit damage boost on an ally will last till the next turn. Now this is massive for quite a few DPS characters, which I will get to in a second. Lastly, the more quantum characters on the team, the more Sparkle will buff the team. Again, nothing is confirmed, but from this I would assume it would be a quantum damage buff, so it would increase depending on how many quantum characters there are. Finally, moving on to team synergies, who should you be using with Sparkle? So from her skill, we know that any crit DPS character would love to have Sparkle on the team, more so skill point greedy DPS characters. The first one coming to mind would be Imbibed Lune, which you can pick up right now as his banner ends right before Sparkle drops. It goes without saying, Sparkle will most likely be the best in slot support for Imbibed Lune. Imbibed Lune is a cracked DPS, but the issue I've had with him and quite a few others have had is that he is way too skill point dependent. To fully charge a normal attack, he will use up 3 skill points, which will leave you vulnerable and you have to build up in order to full send 3 skill points again for his attack. Just having Sparkle on the team alone will allow your skill point cap to increase, so you can enable Imbibed Lune to use 3 skill points and not be left vulnerable, and even possibly use a fully charged normal attack back to back with the use of Sparkle's ult. Sparkle is going to be seriously clutch for Imbibed Lune. She will sort out the skill point issue, increases his crit damage with the use of her skill, and even increases his damage from the ult as he will use numerous skill points in one turn. So yeah, the synergy is going to be insane between these two, so if you were thinking about pulling for Imbibed Lune and you have enough to guarantee Sparkle after pulling him, you may want to consider it before he's gone. Moving on to another synergy Sparkle will be huge for. Monoquantum. Monoquantum has always been good but has slowly faded out as better characters have released over time, which is normal. However, now with Sparkle soon arriving, she will completely transcend the Monoquantum team to possibly even be meta. Amongst the characters you would use in a Monoquantum team would be Seele and Qingque. Now with Qingque, she will have the same reasons as Imbibed Lune with wanting to be ran alongside Sparkle. She uses multiple skill points in the same turn, just like Imbibed Lune. The crit damage boost from Sparkle's skill will also be huge for her, and the ultimate allows Qingque to deal more damage since she uses multiple skill points in the same turn. The difference is, Qingque will actually gain an additional buff from being a quantum character. As I mentioned earlier, the more quantum characters on the team, the more Sparkle buffs the team. This will also mean Seele has potential to be meta once again, which is pretty nice. The same points kind of apply for Seele like Qingque, but one huge buff Sparkle provides to Seele is the skill. As I mentioned earlier, Sparkle's crit damage boost from a skill lasts till the character's next turn. This could mean that you can keep popping Resurgence off with Seele, and with Sparkle you will have enough skill points to keep going and going. So you would be able to take crazy advantage of Sparkle's skill with Seele. So then if you also have Fushuan on the team providing a crit rate boost for Seele, and then Silverwolf also being able to make anyone weak to Quantum, you're just gonna have a blast. In terms of maximizing utility of Sparkle's kit, it would be best to run her with a monoquantum team, but it doesn't mean you have to. Her skill opens a door to many DPS characters, and follow-up attack characters would be amongst them, such as Topaz and Dr. Ratio. Their follow-up attacks are able to go off before they get to the next turn, meaning they are seriously going to be taking advantage of Sparkle's skill, as they are for sure going to be able to land multiple follow-up attacks before the next turn. May I remind, everyone has Dr. Ratio, and with him specifically, after you use his ult, his follow-up attacks deal some crazy damage, so a crit damage boost paired with that is going to be insane. But overall, pretty much any DPS character that is crit based and is kind of reliant on skill points would just love Sparkle. I myself believe it would be best to run her alongside the monoquantum team or a Imbibe to Lune hypercarry team for sure. Sparkle will be preferred over Bronya in many team comps now, but will not fully replace her. If you main Jingliu and you have Bronya well built to support her, you won't need Sparkle since Jingliu is a skill point efficient character and does not rely on skill points whatsoever. Also, given that Bronya allows for the ally to advance forward the action by 100%, it might be better for players who like zero cycling. The best relic set for Sparkle would likely just be the 4-piece speed set, as it's just the best set for pretty much most supports in the game. You would want to build Sparkle with enough speed to possibly go first to pop her skill immediately to provide the crit damage boost. Also, she will advance forward an ally up to a degree, so this probably would lessen the hindrance on having to stack a lot of speed on the main DPS character, which is pretty nice. You can focus on more crit stats rather than speed on your main DPS, as Sparkle will just enable them to go possibly right after, depending on of course on how much that degree is. For the planner ornaments, it would be really dependent on what team you plan to use her on. If you are going to be running monoquantum, you would be better off with the Penacony's Grand Hotel 2-piece. It will firstly increase Sparkle's regeneration rate by 5%, which would be perfect since you want to ult as soon as possible. Also, it will increase the damage of all allies that are the same attribute type as Sparkle by 10%. So the entire team will be dealing 10% more damage if you are running monoquantum. Outside of this set, you can use a few other options such as the Broken Kill one for more survivability and more crit damage for allies, or Von Wax, which also increases regeneration rate by 5% and advances forward Sparkle by 40% at the start of battle. So yeah, quite a few good options, just really depends on the team you'll be running though. Sparkle has a few choices for her Lycone, but just expect her signature to be the best in slot, as it is for the majority of characters in the game. Bronya's signature would be great for Sparkle, as it provides a 10% regeneration rate, which is huge as you want to be popping Sparkle's ult as much as possible. You can also gain a skill point when ulting with Sparkle, but it's triggered after every 2 uses of Sparkle's ult, so it won't be every ult. So there are times that you can ult and gain 5 skill points, which is insane. Also, after using a skill, the next ally will deal 30% more damage for a turn, but with Sparkle you would need to speed tune the DPS, I assume, to make sure to go right afterwards. For the force options, you have the very much so broken Dance Dance Dance, which will just make the ult advance forward allies by 24% at S5. Considering you will want to be popping her ult as much as possible, this would be a solid pick. Also, Past and Future would be great depending of course on how well you speed tune the team. It will enable the next ally after Sparkle uses a skill to deal 32% more damage at S5. Both are very solid picks, but I would prefer to use Dance 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 since the entire team being advanced forward is insanely valuable and it's just less stress on having to speed tune the team with Past and Future. Now the big question, should you pull for Sparkle? I think she is going to be a broken support and will even contend for the top for sure. If you have the characters I mentioned that have great synergy with Sparkle, I would definitely suggest to consider pulling for her. She will only make characters like Imbibe to Lune so much better than he already is, and if you enjoy running Monoquantum, Sparkle is going to be literally essential for that team. Even if you don't have any of those characters, picking up Sparkle still might be a great choice, since she's just going to be so versatile and great for nearly every crit DPS character, and especially skill point greedy characters. So any characters that are like that in the future, Sparkle will be likely the best support for them. For characters like Kafka and Jingliu, she won't be necessary as they aren't heavily reliant on the skill points or won't need crit stats as someone like Imbibe to Lune or Seele. So yeah, if you are planning to pull for her, you have roughly a week remaining, so make sure you have the right team built and those relics ready. We should be getting her kit confirmed this weekend, so we'll definitely be looking forward to that. If you guys enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, would mean a lot, and drop a like. Also, drop a comment on what you think about Sparkle and if you are looking to summon for her. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.